Hello students, greetings. In this session, we are going to discuss about parts of speech, noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverbial phrase, prepositional phrase, and concord. First, we will take up parts of speech. Parts of speech are the basic type of words that English language has got. Most of the grammar books say that there are only 8 parts of speech, namely nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions, and interjections. We can add one more type, namely articles. It is important to be able to recognize and identify the different types of words in English so that we can understand its application very well. And also we can use the right word form in the right place. Let us discuss all the parts of speech one by one. Noun. A noun is a naming word. It names a person, place, thing, idea, living creature, quality, or action. Examples: cowboy, theater, box, thought, goodwill, tree, kindness, arrival. Verb. A verb is an action word. It describes an action or a state of being something. For examples: walk, talk, think, believe, live, like, want, and so on. Next, we discuss about adjective. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. It tells us something more about the noun. Boy, smart boy, yellow ball, thin girl, amazing picture, beautiful picture, important question. Here, important is an adjective, amazing is an adjective, thin is an adjective, and big is an adjective. And beautiful also is an adjective. Because this says something more about the noun. Adverb. An adverb is a word which usually describes about a verb. It tells us how some action is done. It may also tell us when or where something happened. Examples: slowly, intelligently, well, yesterday, tomorrow, here, everywhere. As a matter of fact, adverbs generally end with ly. For example, quickly, intelligently, slowly, like that. But remember, there is no fastly. In English, the word fast is the adverb. He walks slowly, but I walk fast. Pronoun. A pronoun is used instead of a noun or in the place of a noun to avoid repeating the noun. I can give you the list of pronouns: I, my, me, we, our, us, you, your, you, he, his, him, she, her, her, it, its, it, they, their, them are the personal pronouns which we generally use. Next comes conjunction. A conjunction joins two words or phrases or sentences together. Examples: but, so, and, because, or, both. I was present for the meeting yesterday, but you were not present for the meeting yesterday. I was ill, so I couldn't come to the class yesterday. I went to Chennai because I wanted to meet my friend, like that. Preposition. A preposition usually comes before a noun pronoun or noun phrase. It joins the noun to some other part of the sentence. Examples: on, the book is on the table. In, I live in Chennai. By, I go to school by bus every day. With, I live with my uncle in Chennai. Under, your book is under the table. At, I will meet you at 5 o'clock. These are some of the examples for prepositions. Interjection. An interjection is an unusual kind of word because it often stands alone. Interjections are words of feeling. They express emotions or surprise, and they are usually followed by an exclamation mark. We generally use the exclamatory mark at the end of this type of sentences. For example, hello, hara, alas, ho, ha, everything. Article. Although it is not included in parts of speech, it has a very important place in language usage. A and the are the articles. The is said to be the definite article, and a and an are said to be indefinite article. You can do more exercises on this topic to understand this still better. Next, we take up noun phrases. What are noun phrases? A noun phrase is a group of two or more words that is headed by a noun, a person, place, or thing that includes modifiers. Examples: the, a, of, them, with, her, like that. One example I can give you now. My brother is trying to convince the family that he is a compulsive liar. None of us believes a word of it. A noun phrase plays the role of a noun. In a noun phrase, the modifiers can come either before the noun or after the noun. A noun phrase can also be headed by a pronoun. For example, the dog with fleas, the one with fleas. This is a noun phrase headed by a pronoun. Examples for noun phrases. In normal writing, nouns nearly always feature in noun phrases. It is rare to find a noun functioning by itself, that is, without any modifiers, in a sentence. Man proposes, God disposes. This example features two nouns without any modifiers. That is very rare. In other words, there are no noun phrases in this example. But in real life, it is far more common for nouns to feature in noun phrases, that is, to be accompanied by modifiers. In this list, I am going to give every noun phrase consists of a head noun and at least one modifier. People, the soldier, my cousin, the person before you, the lawyer with a big nose, animals, one rat, a shark, funny monkey, places, the house in the corner, Greater Chennai, dirty factory, no shelter, things, this table, the sharp chisel, that vegetable basket, last month, an inch, her cooking. Ideas, utter confusion, some kindness, your faith, the theory of relativity, a joy. So, a noun with any sort of modifier, even it is just a or the, is a noun phrase. The function of a noun phrase. Like any noun, a noun phrase can function as a subject or as an object or as a complement within the sentence. Please listen to the following sentences. Singing in the bath relaxes me. Here the noun phrase is the subject of the verb relaxes. I know the backstage. Here the noun phrase is a direct object of the verb know. She was the devil in disguise. Here the noun phrase is a subject. Complement following the linking verb was. As most nouns feature in noun phrases, let's look quickly at the definition for phrase. A phrase has at least two words and functions as one part of speech. It follows, therefore, that a noun phrase functions as a noun in a sentence. We can test this because we know that a noun can be replaced by a pronoun. Looking at the examples, we can replace each noun phrase with a pronoun. It relaxes me. I know them. She was thin. So here it, I, she, they are the pronouns. This man has a nice smile, but he has got iron teeth. This man is a subject of the verb has. The phrase a nice smile is a direct object of has here. The noun phrase iron teeth is a direct object of the verb got. Here is the pronoun test. He has one, but he has got them. I never learned from a man who agreed with me. The noun phrase a man who agreed with me is the object of the preposition from. Here is the pronoun test. I never learned from him. Every man of courage is a man of his word. Every man of courage is a subject of the verb is. The noun phrase a man of his word is a subject complement following the linking verb is. Here is the pronoun test. He is one. It can get complicated. It's not unusual for nouns and noun phrases to be embedded within noun phrases. Looking at the last example, courage and word are both nouns, but they are not the head nouns of the phrases. They are both objects of the preposition of sitting in prepositional phrases that modify the head nouns. More examples for noun phrases. Noun phrases are extremely common. We should remember that a noun with any sort of modifier, including just a number or an article, is a noun phrase. Some examples. The best defense against the atom bomb is not to be there when it goes off. In this example, there is a noun phrase within a noun phrase. The noun phrase the atom bomb is the object of the preposition against. The prepositional phrase against the atom bomb modifies defense. I don't have a bank account because I don't know my mother's maiden name. In this example, both noun phrases are direct objects. The best car safety device is a rear view mirror with a cop in it. In this example, the first noun phrase is a subject and the second is a subject complement. Only two things are there: infinite, the universe, and the human stupidity. And I am not sure about the former. It was cited by Mr. Albert Einstein, a great scientist. The last thing to say about noun phrases is that they can be headed by pronouns as well as nouns, and they can be quite long also. For example, anybody who wants the presidency so much that he will spend 2 years organizing and campaigning for it is not to be trusted with the office. It was cited by a journalist by name David Broder. Here, anybody is a pronoun. The rest of the noun phrase is an adjective class modifying the head noun. This is the pronoun test. He is not to be trusted with the office. Most native English speakers can form noun phrases without giving the grammar a second thought. So, if the truth to be told, understanding how they function is not particularly useful unless you are required to teach them or to compare them with similar structures in a foreign language we are learning. So by practice we can know what is noun phrase and how it can be used in our communication. Next we take up adjective phrases. An adjective phrase is a group of words added by an adjective that modifies a noun. Example, she had extremely menacing eyes. In this example, the adjective phrase is extremely and the head adjective is menacing. This adjective phrase modifies the noun eyes. Adjective phrase. An adjective phrase is a group of words headed by an adjective that describes a noun or a pronoun. Examples, she had extremely blue eyes. This adjective phrase describes the noun eyes. The adjective blue heads the adjective phrase. She wore very expensive shoes. This adjective phrase describes or modifies, as grammarians say, the noun shoes. The adjective expensive heads the adjective phrase. Sarah was hostile towards me. This adjective phrase modifies the noun Sarah. The adjective hostile heads the adjective phrase. Like a normal adjective, an adjective phrase can be used before the noun. It is modifying as in the first two examples or afterwards as here. For example, she had extremely menacing eyes. Here the eyes noun comes after at the end of the sentence. The dog covered in mud is mine. The dog, the noun occupies the first place. It is at the beginning of the sentence. Some more examples for adjective phrases. An overly sensitive heart is an unhappy possession on this shaky earth. It was cited by German writer John Wolfgang. This adjective phrase modifies the noun heart. I repeat, an overly sensitive heart is an unhappy possession on this shaky earth. I am a fairly intelligent person, but I don't think my grades reflected that. It was cited by an American footballer, namely Barry Sanders. This adjective phrase modifies the noun person. People are so sick of these Twitter tirades. They want to be proud of their leaders. Cited by US politician Tom Perez. The first adjective phrase modifies the noun people. The second modifies the pronoun they. Obviously, adjectives can modify pronouns too. There is always someone better than you and more talented than you, always. The adjective phrase modifies the pronoun someone. In an adjective phrase, the head adjective can be at the starting or the initial stage of the sentence, the middle or end of the phrase. I am so sad about the result. Start at the initial stage of the sentence. I am awfully sad about the result. Sad comes in the middle of the sentence. I am very sad. The word sad comes at the end of the sentence. The other words inside the adjective phrases are known as dependents of the head adjective. They are typically adverbs awfully and very, or prepositional phrases about the result. If you ever find yourself discussing adjective phrases, it won't be too long before you encounter the terms attributive adjectives and predicative adjectives. Attributive adjectives typically sits before the nouns it is modifying. For example, the beautifully carved frames are priceless. The adjective phrase is before the noun. It modifies frames. This is an attributive adjective phrase. Predicative adjective. A predicative adjective typically sits after the noun. It is modifying. The frames are beautifully carved and priceless. The adjective phrase is after the noun. It modifies the frames. This is a predicative adjective phrase. When an adjective phrase or any adjective for that matters appears before its noun, it is highly likely to be an attributive adjective. However, an adjective that appears after its noun can also be attributive. The frames beautifully carved by monks are priceless. The adjective phrase is after the noun and it modifies the frames, but this time is not an attributive adjective. Even though most attribute adjectives sit before their nouns, the position of an adjective does not determine whether it is attributive or predicative. An attributive adjective sits inside the noun phrase of the noun it modifies, and a predicative adjective sits outside the noun phrase of the noun it modifies. Typically, a predicative adjective is linked its noun with a linking verb. To be, to look, to smell, to taste, etc. are used. The dog covered in mud looks pleased with himself. In this example, the first adjective phrase, even though it's positioned after its noun, the dog is attributive because it appears inside the noun phrase. The dog covered in mud, the second is predicative because it appears outside the noun phrase of the noun it modifies. Note how it is linked to its noun with a linking verb looks. I will repeat the sentence. The dog covered in mud looks pleased with himself or itself. We need to be aware that there are other types of multi-word adjectives also. Adjective class, like all classes, an adjective class includes a subject and a verb. The bread you bought yesterday has gone moldy. Moldy means it is spoiled. It has become decayed. The class you bought yesterday is a multi-word adjective describing the noun the bread. It has a subject you and a verb bought. It is an adjective class. Adjectival phrase. The term adjectival phrase is often used interchangeably with adjective phrase, but lots of grammarians reserve this term for multi-word adjectives that are not headed by an adjective. My uncle dated the girl with the tattoos. The phrase with the tattoos is a multi-word adjective describing the girl, but it's not headed by an adjective, headed by the preposition with. This is a prepositional phrase. It is best classified as an adjectival phrase as opposed to an adjective phrase. Next we take up adverbial phrase. An adverbial phrase is a group of words that functions as an adverb. For example, here is an easy example for an adverbial phrase. Jack will sit in silence. The adverbial phrase in silence is functioning as an adverb of manner. It tells us how Jack sat. Compare the example above with these examples. Jack will sit quietly. This is a normal adverb. This example has been included to prove that in silence is an adverb. I will sit like a monk meditates. This is an adverbial clause. It includes a subject that is a monk and a verb that is meditates. In the examples given above, all the adverbs tell us how the person will sit. They are all adverbs of manner. When it is used to modify a verb, an adverb including an adverbial phrase or an adverbial clause will usually describe when, where, how, or why something happens. So, adverbial phrase is a group of words that functions as an adverb. When adverbial phrases are used, they can be referring to the time also. An adverbial phrase of time states when something happens or how often. For example, I will do it in a minute. After the game, the king and pawn go into the same box. Do not wait for the last judgment. It takes place every day. Where adverbial phrase of place. An adverbial phrase of place states where something happens. For example, I used to walk in a fire hydrant factory. You couldn't park anywhere near the place. Opera is when a guy gets stabbed in the back and instead of bleeding, he sings. How? Adverbial phrase of manner. An adverbial phrase of manner states how something is done. For example, he would always talk with a nationalistic tone. He sings in a low register. People who say they sleep like a baby usually don't have one. Why? Adverbial phrase of reason. An adverbial phrase of reason states why something is done. For example, he went to the island to find gold. He plays up to impress his classmates. We tell ourselves stories in order to live. The format of adverbial phrases. Here are three common formats for adverbial phrases. Prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase is headed by a preposition. Example, in, on, near, by, with. For example, you are standing in the corner. She is winning without trying. Infinitive phrase. An infinitive phrase is headed by an infinitive verb. To play, to jump, like that. For example, she went to Madras to paint. Fill in this form to join our club. An adverb with an intensifier. An adverb with an intensifier, example, very, extremely, really, is also an adverbial phrase. For example, he answered me very quickly. She danced extremely beautifully. There are, of course, other formats also. For example, we arrived a day later than expected. I paid him every week. Now let us take a prepositional phrase. We can define prepositional phrase as a group of words which consist of a preposition, the object of the preposition, and any modifier. Examples. Listen to the following examples. A town near London. She is a singer with passion. He acts without thinking. It is little bit more complicated than shown above because the noun can be anything that plays the role of a noun. For example, it's a present from her. Remember that the noun can be a pronoun. She stole it from the man across the street. Here the noun is a noun phrase. It's obvious from what is said. Here the noun is a noun clause. The noun that follows the preposition is called the object of a preposition. There will often be modifiers in the object of the preposition, marking it a noun phrase. For example, I sat with Simba. There are two modifiers in this example. I sat with a wonderful Simba. With the modifiers the and wonderful, the object of the preposition is now a noun phrase. Here is another example. He beat me without trying. There are no modifiers in this example. The object of the preposition is a noun in this case. It's a gerund. He beat me without overly trying. With the modifier overly, the object of the preposition is a noun phrase. The function of prepositional phrases. Prepositional phrases function as either adjectives modifying nouns or adverbs modifying verbs. For example, prepositional phrases functioning as adjectives that modify nouns. Do you mean that boy in the corner? I know the policeman with the radio. In this example, the prepositional phrases are functioning as adjectives. They are modifying nouns, that boy and the policeman. As there are multi-word adjectives, these prepositional phrases are a type of adjective phrase. Prepositional phrases functioning as adverbs that modify verbs. I live near the stadium. She speaks with notable enthusiasm. In these two examples, the prepositional phrases are functioning as adverbs. They are modifying verbs live and speak. As they are multi-word adverbs, these prepositional phrases are a type of adverbial phrase. Prepositional phrases as adjectives. Here are some more prepositional phrases functioning as adjectives. Please buy the scarf with dots. The prepositional phrase describes the noun scarf. We could have written dotted scarf, which proves that with a dot is functioning as an adjective. The man on the radio has a boring voice. The prepositional phrase describes the noun man. Give me one of the brown caps. The prepositional phrase describes the pronoun one. Prepositional phrases as adverbs. Here are some more prepositional phrases functioning as adverbs. Lee raised his small rabbit with utmost pride. Before the war, Dhoni played for India. Lakshmi is tired after the work. Lee lives in the town. The best defense against the atom bomb is not to be there when it goes off. Red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Blue sky at night. These prepositional phrases are functioning as adverbs. I used to walk in a fire hydrant factory. You couldn't park near the place. This is from comedian Stephen Wright. Never run an apology with an excuse. This is not a novel to be tossed aside lightly. You should be thrown with great force. In the examples below, the first prepositional phrase functions as an adjective while the second functions as an adverb. A mathematical formula for happiness, reality, divided by expectations. There were two ways to be happy: improve your reality and lower your expectation. This is by author Jody Picott. Now we take up concord. This is a type of subject-verb agreement. The subject of a sentence should always match the verb describing its action. This helps the reader understand who or what is doing something and makes our writing easier to read. First, identify the subject, the person or thing doing the action, and the verb, the action word in a sentence. If the subject is singular, the verb describing its action should be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb should be also plural. B form verbs. The result is significant. The results are significant. Do form verbs. The student does her best. The students do their best. Become. The child becomes happier. The children become happier. That tree causes hay fever. Those trees cause hay fever. The author analyzes the text. The authors analyze the text. While subject-verb agreement is easy in simple sentences like this, it can become tricky in more complex sentences. For example, compound subjects. Sometimes two or more subjects are linked to one verb. These are called compound subjects. To decide whether to use a singular or plural verb, we have to consider whether the noun is in singular form or plural form. Subjects linked with and. When subjects are linked with and, use a plural verb. A bicycle and a pedestrian were involved. The goose and the chickens eat early in the morning. Exception. When the two nouns don't refer to separate things but as a single entity use a singular verb. The new bed and breakfast opens this week. Bread and butter is a delicious meal. Subjects linked with or. When singular subjects are linked with or, either or, nor, neither nor, use a singular verb. Just a card or a balloon is enough. Either the measurement or the calculation has created a problem. If all the subjects are plural, use plural verb. Either the measurements or the calculations have created a problem. This is the correct form. If the compound subject contains both singular and plural nouns, the verb takes the form of the closest subject. For example, neither the batteries nor the machine operates as intended. Subjects separated from verbs. Often the verb does not directly follow the subject, which can lead to agreement mistakes. Make sure to match the verb with the correct subject, especially in long sentences with phrases or clauses in between subject and verb. I will give you some examples now. Critics of the study highlights its errors. This is incorrect. The correct form is critics of the study highlight its errors. A basket of puppies were in the kitchen. This is incorrect. A basket of puppies was in the kitchen. This is correct. 12 organizations, each of which is an expert in its field and a key stakeholder in the negotiation process, is participating in the conference. This is incorrect. The correct form is 12 organizations, each of which is an expert in its field and a key stakeholder in the negotiation process, are participating in the conference. As well as and other tricky phrases. The phrases as well as is not the same as the conjunction and. Subjects linked by and always take a plural verb. In contrast, phrases like as well as, in addition to, or along with are not linked with the verb. If the subject is singular, the verb should stay singular. I can give you some more examples. The candidate and her supporters leaves the building. This is incorrect. The candidate and the supporters leave the building. The candidate along with the supporters leave the building. This is incorrect. The candidate along with the supporters leaves the building. The employees of the organization as well as the CEO has an interest in the project's success. This is incorrect. The employees of the organization as well as the CEO have an interest in the project's success. Here we have to use have instead of has. So that's all for the day. Please do as many exercises as possible related to this class, and these are the important areas of English grammar with which an English teacher should become experts. By constant practice it is possible. So please do more exercises related to these parts of speech and phrases and subject verb agreement. In the initial stages you may find it little difficult, but in due course of time, when you develop an interest, I am very sure you can become a great English teacher. All the best. Thank you very much. Bye till we meet for the next session. Thank you very much.